Okay, got Greg with me in front. His wife Angel isn't back. There's Angel, and we've just finished our pre-takeoff briefing. And we're about to go to Bend.
Right.
It is 28 degrees Fahrenheit outside, so nice and cool. Airplanes like cool, dry air, so this is kind of ideal air. They don't love warm, humid air. Medford Tower, experimental Sling 3755 Golf, holding short at Alpha 1.
Sling 3755 Golf, Medford Tower, make a right turn out to the northeast, runway 32, clear for takeoff.
32, clear for takeoff, and right turn out to northeast, 55 Golf. And we are clear on final. Clear down the runway. 32 has been verified. Lined up on the center. Now we're going to bring in full power. Full takeoff power is set. Airspeed's alive. Engine gauges are green. There's 50, there's 55. Rotate. And we're flying.
And that was quick.
Yeah. It's it always surprises people just how quickly we get off the ground. All right, there's 90. Flaps are coming out. There's 95. That's a really nice picture.
Yeah.
Plate picture out the front. Got the table rocks.
That is gorgeous.
Ow.
And he approved us for a right turnout, so we'll start that turnout. There's 500 feet, AGL, 550, the parachute is available. And I'm going to start bringing out a little bit of power. Nav, indicated airspeed, autopilot.
Yeah, you can get used to this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right, yes, it is so nice right now that we're climbing at 1,200 feet a minute, even with the tanks full and full of passengers. Departure, experimental Sling 3755 Golf, 7 to the northeast of Medford. Looking to pick up flight following to Bend.
Experimental 3755 Golf, Cascade approach, squawk 4603.
4603, 55 Golf.
Sling 55 Golf, radar contact, 900 miles north of Medford Airport, Medford altimeter 3014.
3014 in position checks, 55 Golf. So, I'm going to go ahead and turn the cameras off. We'll catch you when we get to cruise. Alright, Angel, so we're coming up on Crater Lake, and it's going to be really pretty because there's a few clouds around the lake, so it'll give you a little bit of depth perception. Yep, so that's Crater Lake. You can see the rim of the caldera.
Yeah.
Mount Scott is the high peak over there, and we'll just kind of skirt right about around the rim here, and then we'll take you over to Thielsen, which looks like a Dr. Seuss mountain over there.
Love that one. That
Yep.
was so pretty.
Yep, and you can already see Diamond Lake over there. Yeah, and there's like the Sisters and Mount Bachelor and all of those other volcanoes over there. So you two are probably already familiar. Crater Lake was Mount Mazama 7,000 years ago. It exploded and then imploded after all the magma left. There was nothing to hold the weight of the volcano up, and so it just cratered on itself, and it's like 2,000 feet deep.
So cool.
Very cool. So yeah, Greg and I were just talking. Greg is an anesthesiologist, and we've been talking a little bit about flying, specifically the crew resource management, cruise flight, and how I'm mostly just monitoring and paying close attention to some of the things that are important in flight, in cruise. But the takeoff and landing part are the parts where I've really got to be on my game. Greg said something interesting anyway. I thought you might want to say it because we're going to talk about advanced directives and be a chance for Greg to introduce himself a little here.
Yeah, so I'm Greg, and Greg Price. Anesthesiologist. I've been in the practice for 12-ish years now, if you include residency, and work in Medford area, Grants Pass mostly. And Jason and I were just talking about how similar, how many parallels there are between anesthesiology and flying. So in residency, I was always taught that anesthesia is like flying a plane, and it didn't really sink in so much until this experience here. But all the action, a lot of the main action is at the beginning of the surgery and at the end of the surgery when you're waking up or getting a patient off to sleep and waking them up. That's when a lot of the hemodynamic changes can happen, so blood pressure, heart rate, all of that, oxygenation. And it's also when you're managing the airway, which is a critical part of the surgery, just having the patient safe throughout the surgery. And then, so once I get the patient off to sleep and they're stable, then I can turn everything over to the surgeon and the rest of the crew. And it's like that crew resource management you were talking about. There are other people in the operating room, like nurses and techs, and they all have their different jobs. And beginning, I'm kind of the one in charge, turn it over to the surgeon, and then at the end, I'm back in charge again. And just this morning taking off and cruising here, just these parallels just keep hitting me.
It is kind of cool because as part of our pre-flight briefing, I mentioned that takeoff time and landing is, the time when I need 100% of my focus, need to communicate, need to be watching out the windscreen for traffic and that kind of stuff. And then Greg brought that up. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of cool, Greg, how about that view of Crater Lake in front of us?
Awesome.
Really, the clouds are just kind of right around the rim here on our side of it.
Wow.
That's gorgeous.
That is nice, huh? I'm going to turn just a little bit here and get you a good shot of Crater Lake.
Yeah. We're up flying with our good friend Jason Brewster here. Checking out Crater Lake from the...
You'll be surprised how noisy that is on your video camera. Yeah, it's quiet with these bows on, but it's not when you take them off.
So cool.
Wow, that is gorgeous.
Wow.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah. It's better.
This is totally my jam. I always have to get to the top of everything so I can get a better view.
Yes.
Maybe it's probably just because I'm always looking up at everything usually.
That's a short person thing, huh?
Yeah.
Should we get you in flight lessons, hon?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, that would
Angel
be
would
awesome.
love that.
I would.
So do you remember the name of the island?
Something like Wizards?
Yeah, Wizard.
Wizard Island, very good.
I didn't know that Wizard Island had a little crater at the top of it, too.
Kind of cool, huh?
Crater within a crater.
Yep.
So pretty.
The plane really is amazingly smooth in the air. Like, I assumed we'd feel a little bit more of the...
Yeah. I mean, you do get bumps. So today's a good day. Like I said, it's cool and dry, and that is, planes love to fly in cool, dry air. All right, we are past Crater Lake. We're past Mount Thielsen. We're still let's see, we're still 43 minutes out from Bend. It's kind of a long flight, actually, because our headwinds have been so stiff, 39 knot headwind. Our true airspeed's 125 right now. We've been riding the mountain waves a little bit. And so our ground speed right now is only 88 knots. But that's going to give Greg and me a little bit of time to talk about my next legal discussion.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to have Greg along in particular on this one because part of my estate planning is that we talked about powers of attorney last time. We usually do wills or trusts or something in that range as well. But then I always recommend to people that they do advance directives. Now, my disclaimer, again, this is not legal advice. I'm not your lawyer. Talk to your own attorney, your own doctor about your need for or filling out advance directives or POLSTs or any of that stuff. But I'm going to talk a little bit about at least my end of the practice, and then I'd love for Greg to chime in. Now, Greg's not he's not a general practitioner or a hospitalist, so his experience with advance directives and POLSTs is probably going to be a little bit different than what those doctors might, but still really nice to have Greg along for just this. Sorry, getting my autopilot set up again. We've got a few clouds ahead of us, so we're going to kind of bob and weave and dodge around those on our way into Bend.
2713, keep your speed up as much as you can for
and then I'm going to have to try and
frequency. At the completion of this approach,
last time I talked, I kept talking over
maintain 4,000
ATC, and it comes through jumbled, so we'll try and pause for those. If there's some breaks in the video, it's because I broke for ATC or to gather my thoughts. So advance directives, kind of similar to the power of attorney. They have somebody who's the principal in the power of attorney who's appointing an agent, which in the advance directives in Oregon, we call them the...
Visual approach, Clem Falls Airport, radar service is terminated, and you can contact Kings Tower 13397. See you later.
We call that person the healthcare representative, and that would be similar to a lot of states call them the healthcare power of attorney. So in Oregon, it's a healthcare representative, and that's the person who's going to advocate for or speak on behalf of the principal only in the event that they're not able to speak for themselves, right? If I show up at the hospital and I'm able to direct the doctors and say, yes, I want this procedure, or no, I don't, yes, I'm okay with tube feeding, no, I'm not okay with life support, then my wishes are going to be followed.
On this frequency on the missed approach,
so that healthcare representative only speaks on your behalf if you're unable to speak on your own behalf. And generally, that advance directive, in addition to the healthcare representative, is going to include kind of what used to be termed a living will, which is it's going to give instructions on whether or not I wish to receive tube feeding or life support if I'm facing an end-of-life type of situation. If I'm in a coma, if I'm at an advanced stage of a progressive illness, that kind of stuff. So I can direct my loved ones and tell them what my wishes are, which is important because that takes all the pressure off your kids, your other, maybe your spouse, your loved ones, to try and make decisions not knowing what you want. So I think the advance directive is really a gift to your family to allow them to know how to advocate on your behalf. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Greg?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I feel like when we have direction on how to care for the patient when they're in the hospital, like you say, it takes all the pressure off of the family, it takes a lot of pressure off the patient as well as the care team. Just when we know what way to go, what we can and should do.
November 3755 Golf, contact Seattle Center 126.15.
126.15, 55 Golf. I'm going to need just a second here as we can see it up there. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So you were talking about how that takes the pressure off the care team, the loved ones, and so on. Go ahead, Greg.
Whenever we have a patient come in emergently or, they're not with family, they're unable to communicate with us appropriately, whether they're unconscious or intoxicated or what it may be, then we're just kind of left to do what we clinically think is best at the time. And we're hoping that it's not going against their wishes, but and if we find out later that it is against their wishes, then we collaborate with family and you know, other loved ones to see what's the best way to approach.
And
so,
Redmond, we have an IFR, but we'll just get flight following to Redmond if that works.
One moment. With your Hippocratic oath.
60 squawk 4622.
4622, there you go.
With the Hippocratic oath, basically, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong on this, but if somebody...
11-2, climbing 15,000.
Now we're at a busier sector for Seattle Center. If somebody...
230, Delta 1203.
If somebody comes in and they're not able to communicate with you, your job is do no harm, right? To try to help them in any way they can, even if their wishes might be to not undergo this procedure, not be intubated, not go through chest compressions, whatever that case might be, if you don't otherwise know.
Yeah, and I've seen plenty of situations where we brought a patient in who was in cardiac arrest that was receiving CPR, and then family shows up with the Advance Directive that the patient already had, was able to show that to us, and we would, cease the CPR at that point. But until we know what the wishes are, we're obligated to do what we feel is best clinically for the patient.
5760, that was going to be my next
So, the Advance Directive, in my opinion, as a non-doctor, as an attorney who does estate planning and kind of specializes in elder law, I feel like...
3 Charlie Papa, start descent on the field.
Boy, we got into a busy sector of Seattle. I feel like everybody should have an Advance Directive, irrespective of age. You know, a lot of you older viewers might remember the Terry Schiavo case from years ago, where she was in a coma, and her husband and her parents disagreed about the type of care she should have or should receive.
Yeah.
And it became a big ordeal, went to the courts. It really was a hardship on the whole family and shouldn't have been. She was still quite young.
Yeah. So it went on for a long time.
It went on for quite a long time, and it was drug out. And so that's an important thing, even though you might be young enough to where you're thinking, well, I'm not going to the hospital for cardiac arrest or anything like that anytime soon. Things like that can happen, and you don't ever want to leave your situation where your spouse and your parents might be disagreeing and possibly fighting in court over your care.
Right.
Nobody would want that. Now, one more thing I did want to talk about, actually, Greg. For me, we do advanced directives. Advanced directives, kind of like the powers of attorney, they can be modified or changed or revoked at any time as long as you're competent. In Oregon, the advanced directive can be signed either in front of a notary public or in front of 2 witnesses. So that's the formality required to execute the advanced directive. We've got another medical document called a POLST, which is a bright pink form, stands for Physician's Orders Regarding Life-Sustaining Treatment. That one has to be signed with your doctor or your nurse practitioner, and they have to sign off on it also, because the advanced directive is your direction to your doctors. The POLST is your physician's order to EMS or to the doctors regarding your wishes regarding life-sustaining treatment. So the POLST form kind of works hand in glove with the advanced directive. I see it as more of an acute situation because there we're talking about intubation and chest compressions generally, right? Now, do you deal with the POLST as much in your practice as maybe, I don't know, I would guess emergency room doctors, EMS probably deal with the POLST more frequently?
Yeah, in my setting I don't. What we deal with mainly is DNR requests, and if, like we said earlier, if we had living will directives there, but the POLST itself is not something that I personally have seen. Because when somebody is coming to the operating room for a surgery, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but a lot of those directives for do not resuscitate, do not intubate, those are lifted during the perioperative phase. So immediately before the surgery, during the surgery, and in the immediate recovery phase, Those are lifted because for a lot of surgeries we have to intubate to keep the patient safe and alive. And those are things that we see the condition as a situation where we can reverse what we're doing. We know we can put the breathing tube in for a discrete amount of time and then remove it. So, because a lot of people they don't want to be intubated because they feel like they might be on a vent for the rest of their life. And for us in the operating room, it's just during that operative phase. So that's lifted during that time, and then we resume their DNR requests after that.
And maybe now would be a good time, Greg. So I mentioned earlier that I feel like everybody should have an advance directive irrespective of your age. The POLST or the DNR, for me, don't usually tell my young clients to work on those, but I recommend them when we get into the elderly or super elderly.
Yeah.
And maybe you can address the issues of the ability for young people, specifically like really young people, how well they recover from surgery or an event, a medical event, versus somebody who's in their 80s or 90s.
Yes. So there's huge discrepancy in recovery rates from someone who's young and healthy, as we say, that don't have a lot of other comorbidities. They're not typically hypertensive. All these other things, hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular disease that we just kind of gain as we get older. So just the ability for a person to recover after surgery is so much more optimized when you're younger. And when you get older, it takes a lot more time. The body just takes more time to recover. So somebody who breaks their femur at age 20, they'll come in to the hospital, get it fixed, and they could be released from the hospital in a day or two. Somebody in their 70s who breaks their hip, they're going to be in the hospital for a number of days, and they'll probably end up having to go to a skilled nursing facility or long-term care facility afterwards because it just takes so much time to bounce back and recover. And so their morbidity and mortality is a lot higher.
And so those are things that should be taken into account, and partially why I think the POLST should be filled out with your doctor and discussed with your doctor, because you need to think about and consider those kinds of things. Like a young child going through CPR, intubation, chest compressions, and all of that, a 9-year-old and 11-year-old, they might be back home the next day. A 90-year-old might look like they've been hit by a Mack truck, and the chest compressions themselves, I mean, there are a lot of people that just don't want to go through all of that and then consider the recovery from something like that. So those are important discussions to have with your doctors or your nurse practitioners.
Absolutely.
And to consider and to discuss with your family. Anyway, Greg, I can't thank you enough for riding along with me, helping me with a topic where I feel like I've got knowledge on the estate planning side, but your perspective from the physician side has just been invaluable. So thank you very much for that. Really nice having you.
Appreciate it. I learned a lot from you. This is great.
Excellent. All right, we are 17 miles out from Bend, just flying over the Sun River Airport right now. Actually about to go right over Sun River. How are you doing back there, Angel?
Great.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're starting to hear some of the Bend traffic.
Bend traffic 734 kilo, turning left.
So I'm going to do
for a westerly departure. Bend.
I'm going to do that left downwind approach like we were talking about earlier. My straight in didn't work because the clouds ended up being a lot lower than I was expecting.
Yeah.
All right, we got our wigwags, got our lights, both fuel pumps on. We're on the fullest tank. I'm going to zoom
traffic 734 Bravo, left 834, Bend.
Help me with traffic.
Okay.
So the lines coming out are showing the direction of flight.
Wow, those lava beds are huge.
Yeah, they are, huh? Crazy.
Bend traffic, 734 Bravo Bravo, final 34, touch and go, bend.
It's a cool view at this altitude, though.
It is, huh? Yeah, you just really don't get any of the way. And the commercial planes, you get up away from the ground so fast, you only see it for a few seconds.
8 miles northwest.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're going to be good. On my way out of here, I'll just climb up over these clouds.
Bend traffic, 734 Bravo Bravo.
And like I said, I'm going to have that 40-knot tailwind, so I'll be home in like 45 minutes.
Awesome.
Yeah, you guys got the long scenic route.
That's okay. I enjoyed it.
That's right.
Totally.
Got to see Crater Lake, got to see Fields, and got to do some medical talk.
Yeah, it's great.
Bend traffic, Stein 100 Echo is about 3.5 miles. 45 left downwind for 34, following the traffic on downwind, which I have in sight, bend. Bend traffic, Skyhawk 5462 Quebec, turning final for runway 34, full stop, bend.
Bend traffic, Sling 55 Golf, 5 to the west, maneuvering for left downwind 34.
34, bend.
And he's going to follow you? Just
Yep,
like
he's over.
right
he's out over here, and he said he's going to follow me in.
Okay.
Bend traffic, Sling 55 Golf, 3 to the west, inbound, 45 for left downwind, 34, bend. Yep, thank you.
Bend traffic, 100 Echoes, midfield, left downwind 34.
Bend traffic 3 Mike Golf is turning final runway 34, bend.
Bend traffic, Stein 100 Echo.
I see her turning final.
34, number 2, bend.
Bend traffic, Sling 55 Golf has entered the left downwind 34, bend.
Okay, for space.
There too.
Yeah, do you see him up there?
Yeah.
Okay, he should be turning now. Yep. Bend traffic, Sling 55 Golf. I'm extending my downwind just a little bit for spacing. Bend.
Bend traffic 336 Lima Alpha, also the left downwind will be extended to follow that preceding traffic. Midfield.
Bend traffic, Sling 55 Golf, turning left base 34, bend.
Bend traffic 734 Bravo Bravo, left downwind.
Bend traffic, Medevac 336 Lima Alpha, extending left downwind for bend 34. Have the base traffic inside.
Bend traffic, Sling 55 Golf, short final runway 34, bend.
Traffic, 12 o'clock, low, less than
Yep,
1 mile.
he's on the runway right now, yeah.
Runway 34, bend.
Bend traffic 100 Echoes, clear of 34, bend at Bravo 3, taxiing to east.
500.
Oh, man, I'm having a hard time getting down here. Here we go.
Bend traffic, Medevac 336 Lima
I
Alpha,
came around and all that wind hit me, and then the plane just started performing really well.
Holding short, runway 34, Medevac, final traffic is in sight.
Thanks.
Bend traffic 3 Mike Golf is turning left downwind, runway 34, bend.
That was what we call a long landing. Prop. Whew, it's chilly in Bend. Oh, that was a really nice little touchdown there from student pilot in little Cessna. Speaking of touchdowns.
Bend traffic, Musketeer 1466 Lima, alignment and wait, runway 34.
My touchdown was okay on that last landing, but my pattern wasn't great. I thought I'm not going to put that on my YouTube channel, but I don't want to only show my really good landings. And so I'm going to go ahead and put it up there.
It'll be a right turn departure, bend traffic.
And expose myself to the scrutiny of other pilots, primarily on decision making. So what happened, if you were paying attention, there was quite a bit of traffic, at least for someone like me who's used to most comfortable flying in controlled airspace like a Delta airport, where ATC is monitoring traffic, giving instructions, watching for spacing and all of that stuff. So I had 3 student pilots in the pattern as I came in, and an ambulance flight that just offloaded their patient right here behind me just a few minutes ago. And they said they were following me in, so that was a King Air, so I knew he was fast, and I knew the Cessna I was behind was slow. So I'm trying to kind of manage my airspeed and my spacing, thinking about the King Air behind me, which I probably shouldn't have been worrying about. I mean, obviously, I don't want to get run over, but he had spacing behind me, and I need to be concerned about the traffic in front of me. So I was managing my airspeed, not managing my altitude as well, but trying to, I couldn't get into my regular air speeds and flaps and all of that stuff because I extended my downwind a little bit, tried to keep up my speed, so on and so forth. Anyway, when I came around on final, I was high. I was probably 600 feet, maybe higher. 600, 700 feet even above the ground, and usually as I'm turning base to final, I usually like to be around 500 feet, and that just brings me in at a nice angle. So I cut the power completely, shot the power to idle, but it was windy. We had a 9 to 10 knot wind right on the nose, straight down the runway, and so the plane wasn't sinking quite like it should, because it's just it's got a lot of wind pushing it, and planes perform well with headwinds. So I mean, they don't go fast, but they perform well. So anyway, it made me float for quite a while, and what's going through my mind is, well, you can always go around, just like the song says. So I thought, well, maybe I should go around. And I kind of made a decision. I knew the length of the runway was 5,300 feet. And I need truthfully, I need like 700 feet to land, although I floated again once I got down. But I had made a decision where my touchdown point was going to need to be before I would go around. And I got down to where I thought my touchdown point was going to be, but because I actually floated a little bit past that touchdown point. I made the decision to still touch down rather than go around, because I'm inches off the ground, and I'm actually going slow because that 9-10 knot headwind has my speed over the ground quite a bit slower than it ordinarily was. It all ended up just fine, but I don't know. Anybody tell me if I should be second guessing myself when I was as high as I was? Should I have just gone around as soon as I saw that? Let me know. But as usual, let me know nicely. Bend traffic, Sling 55 Golf, taxiing to runway 34 bend. Bend traffic, Sling 55 Golf is taking runway 34 for a left crosswind departure to the west. Bend. Moment. Alright, clear on final.
Bend traffic 3 Mike Golf is turning left crosswind runway 34 bend.
There she goes, crew left. 34 is painted on the runway. And we're going to bring in full power. Full takeoff power is set and achieved. Airspeed's alive. Engine gauges are green. There's 55. We'll rotate. Let it build up some speed. There's 90. Climb out.
Send traffic through my golf is turning left downwind runway 34 bend.
Yeah, these clouds are so low that it takes no time at all to get above them here. 1,500 feet AGL right now, and we're right at the bases.
Send traffic through my golf is turning left base runway 34 bend.
Alright, we're about 5,500 feet MSL, 2,300 feet AGL, 1,000 feet over the clouds, so I'm going to go ahead and turn and head
coming
back
in
to
on
Medford.
long left base for runway 34 behind traffic. Send.
Send traffic through my golf is turning final.
That's kind of
runway
cool.
34 bend.
Mount Bachelor and Sisters just poking up above the clouds over here in front of us.
Bend area traffic, Commander 6900 Charlie Foxtrot is Deschutes BOR inbound RNAV 16. Bend.
Bend.
Alright, so we departed at 11:25. See how long it takes us to get back to Medford. I think we're going to get some pretty healthy tailwinds on this trip back. Beautiful. I always love cloud surfing. Medford Tower, experimental Sling 3755 Golf is 12 to the north, inbound with information Foxtrot. Full stop.
Sling 3755 Golf, Medford Tower, and a right traffic, runway 32, continue inbound, wind 010 at 7.
Right traffic, 32, and wind 010 at 7, you say?
Sling 55 Golf, affirmative, sir, winds north-northeast at 7 knots.
Alright, I'm going to get to practice my crosswind technique. Alright, we're almost to pattern altitude here. We are getting buffeted around a little bit more than usual. I'm showing 10 knots at 040, so it's going to kind of wind around that way a little bit to give me a little bit more of a headwind on the runway. Alright, there's 2300. Alright, got my lights, both fuel pumps on, fullest tank.
Sling 3755 Golf, runway 32, clear to land.
32, clear to land, 55 Golf. There's birds all around this approach end here.
500.
Wrestle that one down. Surprised I haven't heard from Tower. Usually he tells me to get off here and taxi to parking. Yeah, Alpha. Medford Tower, Sling 55 Golf is clear of 34. Shall I taxi to parking via Alpha?
Sling 55 Golf, affirmative, sir. Proceed to parking via Alpha. Remain this frequency and have a good one.
Via Alpha to parking, and I'll stay with you. Thanks for your help, 55 Golf. Really glad that I went and did that tower tour. I got to know all the local controllers here, and it's just nice to get to meet them. You know, it's funny because you kind of feel like they're friends because you talk to them so frequently, and they're always helping you out and keeping you out of trouble. And so it's good to go meet them. Any pilots out there who have controllers at their home airport, I highly recommend getting a tower tour, going and seeing what they're doing behind the scenes and getting to know your local folks. Well, thanks for coming along. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next flight.